folks. Before we continue our search and find mission, I want to show you a nice car I got at the Moultrie Auto Show, fall of 2021. One of Lionel's mint bank cars. There's a little slot here that you could drop coins in. It says Fort Knox Gold Reserve on it, number 6445, built by Lionel, no builder's date. I don't know if it's MPC or not, but it might be because it has the plastic trucks and tab couplers, which is typical of MPC. Matter of fact, for you youngsters that don't know, if you look at the wheel profile on this, I think this is probably pre-MPC because MPC had what they called fast angle on their wheels, which they claim made it more free-rolling on the old-fashioned tubular track. A lot of you younger guys probably don't know that, but that was a big deal advertised feature back then. So I thought I'd mention that. I paid $10 for that at Moultrie. Not a bad deal at all. Now we're going to go on our search and find mission, which we started in part 1. Welcome to part 2. We have here an MPC Union Pacific tank car. The Union Pacific decal wants to come loose. It's from the famous American Railroad Series 2, built in January 1980 builder date. And if you look at the wheel profile here, let me hold up this car. You see the difference in the angle on the wheels? The one on the left is the older style, the one on the right is the fast angle for the tubular track. So now we know this is probably not MPC. And we know, of course, that this one here is, for the 1980 date, genuine MPC. All right. Next is you take your pick, folks. Is it a goat car, a sheep car, a pig car? Probably the real one had 2 decks because it has these different doors here. This one's Great Northern. I have some on my layout that are Union Pacific somewhere. They're yellow. Number 9450, built January 1981. So those are both nice items to have in your collection, folks. Here's another box. What do we have? Union Pacific 9419, built January 1980. MPC, Famous American Railroad number 2, ship and travel the automated way. I think this came with my Union Pacific Hudson with the smoke deflectors, which is gray in color. I'll show that to you, I guess, in a minute. Here we have the 9788, January 1977 builder date, Lehigh Valley with a little flag emblem on the door. That's a nice little car. Older MPC. Now let me show you that steam engine that goes with those freight cars. It's a MPC Sound of Steam locomotive. It's a very nice engine, by the way. If you don't have one in your collection and you like MPC, you certainly should find yourself one. Shouldn't be that expensive, I wouldn't think. Let's see if it can pull these passenger cars. if I can find this locomotive in Frank Doyle's book. The one edited by Justin Moan. Sorry about that, folks. But nevertheless, somewhere in this book, they feature the steam engines. If I could just find that part of the book, we'll see what we have. Lots and lots of MPC diesel engines. I think this goes into the Richard Kuhn era, but I'm not sure, by the way, this book. Here we go, steam engines. Now, what's the number on this thing? 8002. There's a lot of locomotives to choose from, folks. If you look at this book, you'll be surprised, I think, at just how much there is. And I'm not finding that particular one yet. 8009, 8209, 8004, and here it is, 8002, Union Pacific. Doesn't really say anything about it, except that in excellent conditions it's worth $125, and in like new it's worth $175, and the scarcity code is 5. I don't remember what that means, but I don't think they're that scarce, but I think they were fairly popular at the time. They must have been, or I wouldn't have bought this one. All right, let's see what we can find next in our search and find. All right, before we do this next box, let's look at this caboose. This is an MPC Santa Fe caboose, 9163, 1973. It had the cheap plastic trucks. Here you can see I put the earlier post-war type trucks on with a roller pickup, and I wired in, that's what this thin wire is here, right here, this illuminated brakeman, and that little lantern he's holding up actually lights. It's white, I wish it was red. Here you see the old traditional marker lights, but this caboose is much heavier and tracks much better with these post-war sintered iron trucks. So if you have junk trucks laying around, you can put them to good use in some of these MPC cars. You'd be surprised what you can do to improve those cars. A lot of fun anyway doing it. Of course, as usual, I need a 7-year-old to put the cars on the track, so I'm just gonna leave them like that. All right, what's in this box, folks? Well, it looks like a circus car. Built 178, Lionel Lines 9408 circus car. It's a pretty nice car. It has metal trucks that are sprung metal trucks. Now, my experience with some of these casting trucks are they're kind of brittle. I don't know about the Lionel, but I've had trouble with some of the other companies. And here we have a flat car. It looks like my bulldozer treads have gone the way of rubber treads, which is too bad because it was a nice little bulldozer by Ertl, and it made a nice little load on that flat car. Maybe I can make new treads out of masking tape or something. Here's the other tread. They were good when I put them in this box, but that's what happens to this stuff. And I simply put it on this old Lionel flat car, 2411, I think's the number, it's hard to tell. All metal, Lionel lines, metal brake wheel, handrails, sintered iron trucks, coil electromagnetic couplers. Each coupler had its own little electromagnet, and it got its power through the shoe here. Some of these modern switches will peel these shoes off and you'll be pretty upset. I haven't had any trouble at all, though, with the Lionel Fast Track in that respect. But you better be careful and test it thoroughly first before you put your valuable older Lionel on some of these modern rail systems. And there we have another box, folks. Well, we're now opening another box with two identical cars. Union Pacific, January 1978 builder date, 9407, livestock dispatch. And it has the double doors. And of course, it's based on an original post-war car that Lionel made back in the day. I guess I must have a bunch of these because I think I have 2 more somewhere on the railroad itself. Unless these are the ones and I put them away and forgot about them. They're getting kind of dirty, folks, as they sat on a shelf in a different house for a while. So I'll have to give them a cleanup. Well, that ends another edition of John Long Silver Railz. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll like and subscribe. Remember, folks, collecting old toy trains is a form of treasure hunting, as is metal detecting and coin roll hunting and going to garage sales and thrift shops and car meets and flea markets and whatnot. It's all in the fun.